After 36 years of civil war in which 200,000 people were killed, few thought this moment would come. The former military leader of Guatemala, Rios Montt, in court to hear his sentence on charges of genocide and crimes against humanity. In court too, some of the thousands of victims, members of the Ixchil ethnic group, who day after day had testified over the rape, torture and murder the military had inflicted on them and their families during Rios Montt's time in power.
I know this doesn't erase the pain, but it guarantees that the atrocities committed by the Guatemalan army won't be repeated. My brother can finally rest in peace, and that thug will finally go to prison, and that means a lot in this country where there's so much impunity.
When finally the judge issued her findings, they were unequivocal. Rios Montt had overseen genocide in Guatemala and had done nothing to prevent it. To cheers from the human rights campaigners in court, Judge Barrios sentenced the former military leader to 80 years in prison, 50 for genocide, 30 for crimes against humanity. Hunger, systematic rape and forced displacements had all been used as tools of war against the Ixchil people, she said, for whom merely being a member of the indigenous group was a mortal offence. It was everything which the victims' families in Guatemala had been hoping to hear for decades. But for the former president's supporters, it was a gross misrepresentation of his time as leader. He had protested his innocence until the last, saying he was not involved in local conflicts. But it wasn't enough to convince the court. While this is a day which victims' families, groups and human rights organisations in Central America thought would never come, it's also unlikely to be the end of the story. Mr. Rios Montt is sure to lodge an appeal. That said, the prosecution will do everything in their power to make sure he spends the rest of his life behind bars. Will Grant, BBC News, Mexico City.